Good afternoon, sir. For today's video, I will explain what I have learned in our forensic subject. But before anything else, I just want you to know how grateful I am, sir, for having you as our instructor in the said subject. So first, we will get to know the history of forensic photography. Based on my research, forensic photography resulted from the modernization of criminal justice systems and the power of photographic realism. The first use of forensic photography was in the 19th century by Alphonse Bertillon. This makes him the first forensic photographer, and it is said that Bertillon was the first to approach a crime scene like an investigator. Bertillon took various shots at the crime scene. Some shots were at distance while others were close up. Some shots were at ground level while others were shot from overhead. Next, we will be talking about uh, what is forensic forensic photography and its importance. So when we say photography, what comes in our mind is that it just about taking pictures. But if you yourself knows the real essence of photography, then you will know its significance and value. You will know how important it is to take pictures properly to attain professional photography or results. Forensic photography can help us know or identify the kind of picture that we are capturing. It also serves as a visual documentation in terms of finding evidences in a crime scene. If ever there is a certain accident or crime that needs an investigation, then through this, it will be easier to figure out what causes it. No matter how good the investigator, no matter how good the investigator will be, I can say that with the absence of forensic photography, everything is useless. Why? Because this detailed photography serve as a proof that a certain incident does exist and that it is not just a rumor or some false information. It records the crime scene as well as its physical evidences that will be useful in the investigation process. Most especially nowadays, we can't deny the fact that crimes are everywhere and it's rampant in our society. Upon doing the forensic photography, it is essential to make sure that the pictures are vivid and that it is not blurry at all. Since when the pictures that you are taking is not clear, there is a tendency that a certain photograph will not be identified correctly. Then that leads to misinformation. Of course, it is not that easy to do, but with the right knowledge, training, and experience, then it is not impossible to achieve. Now, what we are in our college level taking up criminology as our course, we have we have to know the difference between forensic photography and basic photography. Forensic photography requires the correct lighting, proper lenses, and accurate angles, considering that it will be submitted during court hearings, proceeding, or trials, and it is there that they will base everything. There are the types of photography: forensic, photomicrography, infrared, ultraviolet seen and unseen object, X-ray photography, flash photography, microthrography, macro photography, stick photography, and nighttime photography. So, ang forensic photography, recording crime scene or any other object for the court presentation. Then, ang photomicrography, minute objects when magnified by means of microscope and enlarged from 10 times up. Then ang photomicrography, objects directly enlarged to the negative and magnified from 1 to 9 times. Ang infrared, photographing or recording unseen object by means of infrared light. Dayon, ang ultraviolet seen and unseen objects that luminescence by the use of ultraviolet light. Extra photography, recording internal structure of body. Muna siya ang X-ray photography. Then ang flash photography po, exposures are made with the illumination from one or other photo flash. Microphotography, very small photograph as encountered in microfilming. And stick photography traces movement by either the camera or the subject being moved during exposure. Then ang nighttime photography without a flash is now possible with many modern camera, but the long exposure time required means that is advisable to see that show fast film. Then there is a basic principle involved in photography. There are 4 major factors to produce photography, which is light, camera, film, and chemicals. Then ang iyaring basic terminologies is light. Ang light is radiant energy that makes things visible and classified by the wavelength into a system known as electromagnetic spectrum. Mm. 1945, New Mexico City men for the first time transmitted a substantial quantity of matter into light, heat, sound, and motion, which were called energy. If matter shades it as mass and travels with the speed of light, and it's called radiation. Then ang number 2 is photoelectromagnetic radiation. Energy wave produced by the oscillation or acceleration of electric charges. Ngunit siya ang photoelectromagnetic radiation. Ang number 3 is electromagnetic spectrum. Whole range of radiant energy that includes radio waves, microwaves, or infrared light, visible light, ultraviolet light, X-ray, and gamma rays. Then ang 4, visible spectrum, a small part of electromagnetic spectrum where the visible light is found, the position of the electromagnetic spectrum that is affects the human sense of light. Then ang visible light, radiation that wavelength ranging from 400 mu to 700 mu. Then ang adding wavelength, number 6 is wavelength, distance between two touch in light waves used in measuring the intensity of light, common of measurement of light intensity in terms of manufacturing. Wato yang basic terminologies. Then napo dayon ang dire po dayon ang police photography. The police photography and the concept of photography. So photography, production of visible image by using the action of light and sensitized material. In of the term photography, Greek terms is photolight, and graphy, writing, literary photography, used to draw the light. The light writes when it strikes minute crystal of light-sensitive chemical components in the film, emotion causing a very subtle change in the crystal. Ano siya? The historical development. The basic principle of optics and camera, first motion by Chinese and Greek philosophers, the first surviving mention of the principle behind the principal camera or a camera obscura, belongs to the Chinese philosopher Mozi Moti around 5th to 4th centuries BC, who referred to this device as collecting plate or locked treasure room. On the other hand, the Greek philosopher understood the principle of pinhole camera when the root of the light passing through the levels of a tree and leaves produce elliptical rays. Then it is involved a person nga nagbuhat na ni sa mga camera or photography. Gini sila din na rin sila ni Isaac Newton in 1644 to 1666. Isaac Newton discovered that white light is composed of different colors. Isaac Newton ang naka-discovered na. Dayon sa 1727, Johann Heinrich Schulze discovered the silver nitrate darkened upon exposure to light. Then sa 1814, Joseph Nicephore Niepce achieved the first photographic image with a camera obscura. However, the image required 8 hours of light exposure and later faded. Mo ni siya. Dayon sa 1839 pod, sa 1839 si John F.W. Herschel coined the word photography. Si John Herschel day ang nag-coin sa word nga photography. Then suggested a negative and positive in following year and pointed out that image can be made permanent by dissolving away unexpected silver compounds with solution of hypocephalate of soda. Muna siya ang mga person nga naka-imbento sa photography. Again, I am very thankful to you, Sir Dagatan, because you have taught us lessons that will serve us and guide us for future references. Within this, we can assure you that we will apply all our learnings into reality. I am looking forward our next lesson. I am looking forward our next lesson, sir. Thank you for your deep patience and understanding towards us. God bless you, sir. God bless you always, sir.